Hello, Douglas Long and Sonny from again. This time we thought we'll talk about listening. In previous conversations we have alluded to leadership being all about listening. So Douglas, what do you think about that listening aspect?
I think listening is absolutely critical to leadership, because listening is critical to communication. And leadership largely involves having a vision, in other words, deciding what is desired performance standards, and then communicating that in such a way that results are achieved. And I think that what we've concentrated on in leadership and most other areas in terms of listening or in terms of communication has been on getting our message across rather than understanding what is coming through to us. And so when we listen, in most cases, our default mode is to listen either because we want to find the solution, where we think we are expected to find the solution, and so I've got to be the resolver of problems, or we listen because we want to discuss it and we want to put forward our viewpoint and show the other person where they are wrong. But we very seldom listen with a view to actually relating and interacting with the person. In an earlier session, I talked about leadership as creating the environment in which people can perform.
Yep.
Now, I can't create that environment unless I'm really listening to what the people want to tell me that is stopping them performing. I've been consulting in organisations in Australia and Southeast Asia mainly for the last 30 odd years. And one of the things that always amazes me is an organisation says, Doug, we've got a problem, we need to deal with this problem. I go in and I start moving around, and invariably the people closest to the problem know how to solve it. They can see what the issues are, but they feel absolutely powerless to get anything done because nobody will listen to them. The people at the top think that they know all the answers, and so they want to superimpose their answers. And it's amazing how often it is that you really listen, you explore, you check it out with the people involved, and you start looking at the bigger picture, and suddenly you find that you've got a solution, and management says, that's absolutely brilliant. And sometimes I don't appreciate it when you say, well, actually, your people knew this all the time. And that's a case of listening. People want to perform. People want to give us the desired results. And if we don't listen to them, we can't find out what's stopping them.
Absolutely. In fact, this is an interesting analogy about sporting teams, and sometimes when you look at some of the most successful sporting teams, the key thing you get is you might find a human being at the head, maybe a manager like Sir Alex Ferguson or someone like that at the top, or Robbie Deans, and you would think, maybe that is the person who's actually driving all this. What you find when you actually look into the way they operate is they're listening. Their listening allows them to hear what's going on within the team, and then find out what it is that he or she's got to do in order to provide the necessary support framework to enable that team to function at its peak. And that listening part is really interesting. I think Professor Otto Scharmer did some very interesting work in which he calls the U process. And in that process of leading into the future as it emerges, and that whole construct is based on listening. Listening not just to the conversations that you're having with the people in your team, but also listening to the conversations of what's going on outside. Listening so you look and see what's beyond the surface, hearing what's really going on underneath. And I think when you do that, you do have an understanding, you do have access to wisdom that you otherwise don't have.
Yeah, because you're listening with the belief that the answers are actually going to emerge, not just, in fact, probably not from you as the leader, but they are going to emerge because most people, given the opportunity to think about their problem in the right sort of framework, can find that they help the answers emerge. And so it's a shared listening. It's not just a listening from the point of view of I'm the boss, I'm in charge, I've got to make decisions.
Yes. That word shared is quite interesting. I think a few years ago when I was working with another organization, we were building a completely new team. and this team was sitting around the place. They had never had experience in this particular area, dealing with air conditioning systems and hot water systems and electrical products and white goods and things like that. And as we sat there and we worked with these guys, and then we put them out there to go and explore what was going on. Then we bring them back together. We started listening. What was really going on? People brought up, these guys who had no idea at all about the business they were in, brought up such novel, absolutely amazing ideas that came out of that we then built it into this unit. And that unit then became the most successful operator in New South Wales in 12 months. And all because of this flow of ideas that flew in from all of these sometimes greenhorns, a couple of really experienced people, but they all put it together because they're on the coalface.
Yep.
They know what was going on. Yep. They're intelligent. These are super intelligent beings we have around us. And sometimes if you don't recognize that, we don't tap into that pool of wisdom.
That's right.
It's just beautiful. So it's really important. Listening is, I think, and Douglas and I share this view because of our experiences as well, that listening is fundamental to great leadership, to third generation leadership. Without listening, there is no engagement. So I would ask you to have a think about that. And perhaps you have got stories to share, comments to make, some ideas and opinions of your own, great wisdoms. Why don't you share that with us? Maybe we can then share it with the world. Thank you for watching. We look forward to seeing you soon.